Of November 9th, 2020. We are currently reviewing some budget items, so can't say this is going to be exciting TV, but our first appointment will be at 7.
Right.
So the budget.
These items that are highlighted in yellow, do we need to adjust them? Is that why they're highlighted in yellow?
That's what we gotta figure out, yeah.
Some of them have no change, but you highlighted so you know which parts are yours.
Yeah,
Only January through June.
It's just the way she printed it. You got a thing last week with up till October 30th. We got it. Where is it?
Yeah, it would have been better to have, even September would have been better than June.
I just can't believe our legal expenses are only $58.91.
By good time, by good time. Don't jinx us.
The biggest question is gonna be, what do we wanna do for PFAS? We did 100,000 last year.
This is the well water issue.
Yeah, so I don't know what we're gonna do with that.
Where does it stand now?
Well, we're gonna, I believe, we're gonna have to test those the five systems that we put in, that the state put in place. And then whatever other testing we're gonna have to do.
Did we sign anything with them stating that we would do that?
No, we don't have anything signed, that's what.
Then I was advised that we are in a holding pattern, and I think before we commit to anything, especially if we did not sign anything, just because they say, yeah, it's your problem now. We didn't sign anything that said, okay. So
Do you wanna put 25 for the existing, I can't remember that.
it was $1,800 a system to test it.
For each one.
Yeah, and recharge the charcoal element or whatever it is.
Yes,
That's
so
not-
it's, I mean, $10,000 roughly.
So why is it 100,000 in the proposed?
Because,
We spent roughly $69,000 with Stantec just on
Yeah.
the testing.
Okay.
And then you factor in Sanborn Head and everything like that. I think we should keep $100,000 in there, but again,
All
I
right.
don't think we should be signing up for things that we didn't sign up for. I think we should.
no, I know, that's what I'm saying. What,
No is our answer.
do you wanna put 100 or do you wanna back it down? That's,
I think we should leave it in the 100 because let's leave caution the better part of that, make that better part of valor. I mean, it's an unknown quantity, we don't have any other commitments. If it's a lot less, then we can return it to the voters next year. So I would say leave $100,000 at this point in time.
I'm fine with leaving 100. I agree with Phil, I don't think we want to project the future or act like we did.
I mean, the way the new regulation was written is that it would be subject to the makeup in Concord as it currently looks is looking like this is not going to be the issue that it was previously. So I would think that that's probably a good contingency, but hopefully we don't have to spend anything.
say it again, you wanna just leave it to contingency?
Yes.
So you don't wanna fund anything in this?
No, I'm saying
Leave it as is.
Leave it as it is. Okay, yeah, no, that's fine.
because not knowing which way that will go.
Yep.
So.
Okay.
Okay, before we get off this page, I want to get to the computer items above it. We don't know what we're really going to need to spend to have a system that's in the 20th century, never mind 21st.
Did the people who prepared the bid for us, they had a number attached to that or no?
Not the paperwork I saw for the,
I didn't think so.
I
Okay.
didn't see anything.
I didn't see anything.
Were they invited to bid on it?
Yeah, they
On the
kind
bid
of did.
paperwork that they prepared?
Yeah,
Yes.
they haven't yet.
When are the bids due?
November 30th, I think. The
You
actual
still
one.
need this on?
You can't hear me. November 30th, I think it is.
This is for the computer upgrade?
For the
Yeah.
computers, mosquitoes are beginning of December 4th.
then with the amount of money here is, there's no mosquitoes in these. This is all computers. And I guess my question would be, how much have we spent so far?
We're gonna have to,
And only because we crashed down a few times since June.
yeah.
We crashed the planning board, town computer crashed during that planning board meeting.
Oh, yeah?
Shut down everything.
Exactly.
This is because of the server, yes, or the computers?
Yes.
I had a man come over here because he thought he had a problem and everything had crashed.
Adam, you got a second? The issues that we had at the planning board
Yes.
meeting crashing, was that a computer issue or was that a server issue?
It was not a computer issue in the sense that it was not that machine, if that's what you're asking. The problem was, so I lost a connection. I ran up thinking, oh, the computer's just crashed. And when I got up here, there was no internet connection on that machine, and I did check my cell phone, which connects to the Wi-Fi, just to check, and that was also, there was no Wi-Fi, the town, so I would say that would probably be a server issue. Don't hold me to that case, oh, it's not actually a server issue, it's something else, but it was a network issue, if nothing else.
Okay.
So it was not an individual computer problem, it was something.
Based on 2 observed systems or symptoms, that's what you feel comfortable assessing of that?
Yeah.
Thank you. So my question on that, and this is not specifically to the budget, is we now have a framework moving forward. I think we're going to go with, I mean, that's what we put out to bid. We know that the server is an issue. That's what prompted this whole discussion and moving that thing forward. I think that should probably move up on the priority like now to replace that. And then, you know, whoever gets a bid.
I don't know, I just,
Spend that.
Who's zooming in on us?
They're all muted. Oh, I see.
Now like in this year, or now like in next year.
I think like now,
Like
Well,
immediately.
time now.
I think like one of the bidders that bid in, the one that set the RFP, he made a comment that he would provide service for free, basically, if, I believe it's in his bid.
No, I'm saying the server,
Yeah, he would provide it free,
oh, a server free?
Yeah.
Okay.
or servers free.
yeah, he's got, they usually build ones.
We're talking about things that the rest of us have no clue about, haven't seen anything. I mean, is he saying he's gonna give us a free server if we give him the bid? Is that what he's saying?
He would include that in his bid to replace them free if he got the bid for setting up the network. Because the network was emails, it was everything. It was a complete packet, you know, that went out to bid.
But I guess what I'm uncomfortable with, Kevin, you're talking about someone that designed the parameters, and yet we haven't got all the bids in yet, and you can't, I don't wanna show.
He mentioned something about he might throw that in there. I haven't seen his bid.
Okay, I just, I'm
So we
careful
gotta-
that
I'm
we
saying-
don't prejudice ourselves into a spot we don't wanna be.
Well, the whole thing was, what do you buy for a server? That's why we're waiting for, that was part of, I believe that went out the bid, is what are you gonna get for a server? Are you gonna get one and connect all of them together? You're gonna get 3 individuals? That we have to wait and see what the bids are. I wouldn't wanna go buy a server right now, is my point.
I guess my concern is, well, I can see your point. Fair.
I mean, you can go buy a server, but what we set off to RFP is useless because it was spec'd in there for, like, I believe even housing it at the new fire station.
That's one proposal.
Okay, and everyone Wi-Fiing off of it instead of having individual servers under someone's desk. You know, you could go buy a server and you could pay probably $1,000 or $10,000. It depends on what system you're doing.
Plus you need backups.
What?
Plus you need the backup. We talked about different things.
Yeah, but we need a server that does more than I.gov. I mean, iPower, excuse me. Yeah. Gotta get away from that stuff.
Yeah.
Okay. And I just don't want us to be boxed in it.
I haven't looked I haven't looked at what the RFP went out. Briggs was taking care of that, but that was part of it, was servers, email, everything, networking.
Right, and being able to transfer calls from here to the police station or the library.
Yeah,
or the fire
Yep.
station.
And they actually looked at what we have for other equipment too, to see if we want those maintained, like printers and fax machines and copy machines. So they're gonna give you a full spread. And what do you want? What do you want to do? What do you want? Do you want us to provide service for all your equipment, or part of your equipment? So when they go through, they push through, they're looking at all of the equipment, then they're gonna break it out for you.
So I'm saying I don't think we can go and buy a server right now because it's,
It's up in the air.
Well, no, I mean, the bids are due in another 3 weeks, so it's not
Yeah,
like we're
yeah.
that far off.
But like Phil's saying,
We've been dancing on the
we
edge of
need
the
to do
building
it
here.
this year, do it.
Oh, at least for 6 months and I'm
I think we need to be ready to jump when we get those bids.
yeah. I can guarantee it's not gonna be $5,000. I can guararantee that.
We'll be lucky to get anything under 150,000 to do the whole shit.
How are we overall for this year? Does anybody know? Funds left or not left? I mean, if we go with Phil's theory, can we encumber and take from this year to do something?
You can if you have a contract.
There's
If
two,
we have a contract.
there's two more people that I'm pushing through Thursday, and you'll have, what do you have now? 4?
You've already taken 2 or 3 through, right?
3 through.
So this is 2 more.
Yeah, 2 more, right.
So we put them under contract immediately and then encumber the funds.
So
We
they,
can get it done, like Phil says, as soon as possible.
I've got them providing the information back to Cindy to warehouse it, and then we'll break it up from there.
The
So Cindy,
bids, you mean? The bids, you mean? Oh, yeah. Well,
Yeah, I mean,
but
I
it
don't
says
know.
in the request, that's
Did
where.
you see Salem? Just got some ransomware attack and.
yeah, that's the one.
They'll be down for a week. Imagine, can you imagine?
Yeah.
Which means your town clerk's not processing anything, it's just
Not processing income.
not processing income, exactly correct.
I mean, I see your point. I just,
I get it. I know we're teetering, but we knew that. We were just waiting for the bid.
yeah.
I don't know why we're waiting till November 30th for the,
Well, it's too late, that we already
Yeah.
did that horse.
anyways, that's okay. The other thing was consulting and outside services. That's Sanborn Head, I believe.
It is.
So what do we want to do for that?
So, if our council is who we're planning to use in that event, he saw that more as a place that he could go and ask questions from. And so I think that number is probably indicative of that, especially with the additional 100K.
Want to drop it down to 1,000?
What's that?
No,
I think that was their minimum retainer right off the bat, was $5,000, so.
I agree.
yeah, I leave those numbers alone for now, more because once we get, we have plenty of time before the bids are finalized to know what we may need to put in as a line item or anything else, or contracted services. So it doesn't make sense to try to, shave 1,000 or 2 here and there on an area that we are so behind the eight ball,
Yeah.
and we may be adding a lot more to it.
So the only one we'll leave open is the computer upgrade. Other than that, the numbers stand the way they are with the exception of the 62 instead of 63.
Correct.
Okay.
And NHMA has not notified, are they going up when they still?
They're not, there's a
No
note here.
increase.
No increase, so that's okay.
What does the penalties line item encompass? Just out of curiosity.
PD? For PD?
Just $100?
It's 41, 30, 21 on this first page, Don. First page, 2/3 of the way down. Office equipment penalties. It's $100 in here.
like anything's happening, whatever it is.
Yeah.
Do we have it as an underlined item so that in case someone got penalized, someone could spend it?
I would imagine, yeah. But it looks like, I don't think it's been ever spent. It's been budgeted for $100 for,
This is, that's Tammy,
Yes.
and then this is Holly and
What is it?
So why did cable TV operation go down?
63.
originally we budgeted,
Full-time, that's Gail. I think she had to give herself an increase. But I don't know, that's a good question. I don't know.
16.5. We added additional last year into that account to do more with equipment and stuff.
Yeah, so this
And we
is.
purchased all of those necessary things
But that's about 150.
this year.
So that has nothing to do with that, it's,
No, I mean, that,
But it wasn't.
so that should be, that would be in a different account under salaries,
okay,
I don't-
great.
part-time salaries
But that puts you at
of,
60, not 85.
what did she budget for
Maybe
part-time
it's just to give it a
salaries?
try.
Do we want to open the door since it's?
Yeah, we can have the doors on. sure.
Yeah, this is not-
And I'd like one conversation.
Salaries, full-time salaries, part-time. Salaries over.
You can leave that door open if you want. You can leave the door open.
No,
We're not ready for you yet, Charlie. Not yet.
Kevin, what does 413 OS3? It shows what that,
Say it again?
4130-S3
We looking?
on the salaries under executive.
Which one?
S3, part-time.
It looks like we had a budget 2019,
Well, we don't have any,
so that must have got
you
moved.
pay the secretary.
that was originally Tories or?
Budget committee?
No, he's under executive.
Under executive.
Where are you, which page?
He's on the first page though.
4130-S3. I was just wondering why
I don't know, I don't see any, I don't see
Salaries
any.
part-time, that would be Tory though.
Tories, okay.
She went to full-time.
Yep.
Which is gone.
Yeah. So, who did the town hall? Or just a Tam's budget?
Me.
Okay, I just wondered, we were just trying to figure out on the part-time. Full-time went up and the part-time went down.
I don't know, I have not had a chance to review it with her.
Okay.
Okay.
Don't forget, we added a part-time person, we
Right.
added additional staffing for preparation for under COVID, for the elections, both
Okay.
primary and.
Well, yeah, the part-time went down 15.
Went up $38,000.
I'm not surprised at that. You made salary adjustments as well?
That's not counting Tammy's salary. Tammy's went up
She's got
5.
her own salary line.
You got the wrong one, okay.
Yeah, it's page 2, TCTC, then you got your salary under there.
Next was the treasurer's salary. Did we want to do something with that or no?
Like what?
No, don't ask me if we're doing any more raises.
I'm asking everyone.
Like raise?
Yeah, are we leaving it that, or?
That's what it says
I
here.
don't even know what that
I think
entails.
every single check she signs everything.
They don't stamp it. What they doing?
So she might stamp.
What they doing in Florida? I mean, that's,
I think the question for us, this falls under our budget, but it's just, that's why it's highlighted. Do we want to change it or not? Are we okay with it the way it is for trustees of the trust fund, the bookkeeper, and the treasurer's salary?
So it's 7,800 divided by 52. What the fuck?
Ooh, how can you live? 78. 150 a week.
I don't know how many hours she spends. For $25 an hour, it's 6 hours a week. I doubt if she does 6 hours a week.
Wow. $70,000 increase for retirement.
Way up.
That's like 6 months.
So, 4196 dash 01.
Liability.
Where's the one, or is that under health insurance, or what is that under, where she was?
That go, you gotta go,
On page 4.
hold on, dental, disability, no, health and life insurance. The page before, 415505.
Okay. So that doesn't take into account the one that she was, that we decided to send out to the department heads to look over, that was gonna save us.
That's the health and,
No.
Let's go.
health insurance.
I did get some feedback on that from all the departments. They want to stay where they're at.
They want to what?
Stay where they're at, because,
I thought that, we had some paperwork to that effect.
yeah. It changes the amount of the deductible considerably.
Throwing that.
So, if you have someone that has a lot of medical issues, they're gonna pay a considerable amount more if they're.
The town saves 50 grand, come on, Don.
And Tammy did,
I'm out.
Cindy did get the figures for the high deductible plan, and it really saves no money.
The deductible.
The high deductible plan, I don't understand how Health Trust can even publish these rates, but it saves no money to add that plan on.
That's the new one that we were looking at?
No, that was the NHTI, which apparently Briggs has heard none of the employees like it. I asked her to just take a look at a high deductible plan under Health Trust. Just another option, because most of the firefighters and most of the police officers don't use the insurance. And the cost is the exact same. The cost of the employee would be $856 a month versus they're paying $874 a month. It's pointless. I don't understand how Health Trust could even offer that, but I did follow up with her. Will we do anything for the town inspectors or change any of that?
That comes in with the rates and the changing the fees and all that.
Well, to a point. But I don't think we,
I would suggest adding $600 a week, 12 times 25 for a part-time enforcement agent.
should, now's the time to put it in there now.
Well, do you put it in here, or it passes what warrant article you added
I
in?
don't think you have to do a warrant article for part-time.
Sure. No, if we do part-time, you're right.
And then with this theory that when Robert retires, you roll the two of them together.
Or some other reconfiguration depending on what comes up 6 months from now. I think that's a great idea because we need to start promoting it. This is the first step in terms of developing our own managerial infrastructure.
And that position should, if we write the fees and everything right,
Pay for
should
itself.
pay for itself.
Yeah.
Okay,
How much were you proposing to add to that line?
you said 600 a week times
12 times 25. 12 hours a week times $25 an hour.
I think you're right, pay for itself.
That's 300 a week, right?
12 times
25.
$300.
300 a week.
and for
Times
half the year.
12, 3,600? Oh, actually, times 52.
52.
No, it's 52 weeks,
Yeah.
it's 15,000.
3, yeah.
I mean, if we write the fees right to where, you know, we double the fee, triple the fee, if they don't take permits out, you know, all that type of stuff, that position will pay for itself.
So we're gonna add that in the salaries part-time?
Yes.
Every salary inspectors is part-time.
34,
The
800, so the total is 5,400. 50,400.
Yeah, because it went to 49.8.
You got that, Susan?
50,400 total for the part-time line?
Yep.
Okay.
And the memo, the note on that would be that we're adding,
Part-time code enforcement?
yeah.
Pest control? Oh, never mind, I know the answer to what I was going to ask.
Actually, when does that bid due?
December 4th. Pest control?
Say it again?
The mosquito pest control, they're
No.
due December 4th.
December 4th.
This pest control is, mosquitoes on there separate, but the top one that I was asking about is Bill already.
Yeah, Bill Harvey said that
So,
already.
we're not doing anything with that. It's 18,000 divided by 52. Do that real quick, 18,000 divided by 52.
18,000,
Yeah, divided by 52.
346 bucks.
350. That's probably one of those jobs, some weeks, certain times of year you're busy and other times you do nothing.
Yeah, it's all of them wins, I think.
Yeah.
What are we gonna do with, hiring for the, are we putting in for full-time or?
I had suggested to Rich that he put in for the full-time in his budget, so that we could see that and then talk about it. He's paid for the half-time,
Yeah.
and it didn't always, it's been shared for how long now, Chief? Couple years?
Oh, no, longer than
Longer
that.
than that?
I think he needs his own.
He does need his own.
Okay, but the question is, I would say that either has to go to warrant, it would have to go to warrant article if it's full-time.
Did we set it to warrant before? Had it ever been full-time, or was it always been part-time?
It's always been part-time.
What's that?
Rich to have an admin.
Yeah, I think it was a 20-hour week the first time it passed.
Yeah. So it would have to go to warrant if we're gonna do full-time.
Okay. He's not here tonight to talk to him about it. So he puts in the warrant, or we as a select board?
I'd be willing to put it in, you know, but, like I said, if, that would change that line, because you would take the money out, and because it passes, it doesn't pass, that's,
Right, well, only part of it will be taken out, because if he's got it in it for 40 hours.
correct, then he could, right, he could have a part-time if it doesn't pass.
Do it for 6 months of the first year.
Correct. Well, I know Rich is gonna be out of town for a few days this week. Why don't I talk with him next week when he gets back?
Usually the first year you do it for 6 months.
So,
Yeah, it's, right, it's,
I gotta be honest though, I get that's what we do, but someone needs to be in there sooner than later, that's like the server issue. Just to start getting stuff
Well,
down.
you got January, March.
Actually, you couldn't do it anyway, so yeah.
And then you got-
April.
well, technically we could if you brought someone else on and Laurie's hours got reduced, right? Isn't that how that works?
It's
Well,
not on
even if
there.
you
It's not
got a
in.
roll for March, that's 3 months into the year.
Right,
And then you got, before you hired someone, it's gonna be a couple months anyway.
right, no, I totally get that piece of, you could still leave half his salary in there now, which is what he normally asks anyways.
Right.
Right, you could even bring someone in for half-time now.
Well,
We have to talk about that with him, okay?
Yeah.
We have to see how he feels about it, because technically, we could hire someone now, he could hire someone now.
Yeah, but the thing is, would they wanna stay on part-time if it doesn't go
Well,
full-time?
I don't know, that's why we need Rich here to talk
Yeah.
about it, and what we would do, and whether or not someone would be willing to start as a part-time person and take the chance that it would go full-time.
Yeah.
We don't know that, we can't answer those questions, but it's hard for us to
Okay.
make those decisions without Rich being here with us.
I would say the selectmen could put it in versus Rich.
And that's great,
Yeah.
but I still want his input of what we want to do for salary and so
I would
forth.
say Selectmen put it in and Rich write a letter supporting it.
Exactly, and speaking to it in a deliberative session. Just making myself a note.
Well, I got a question about the cemeteries. We contract that out every year. Is there ever a point that it becomes beneficial to have a seasonal part-time person to do that instead of a contract? I mean, have you ever done the math to see if it
I haven't personally, I think the,
group has?
I assume that they have. I think the insurance and carrying costs of having an employee, plus there's also a bulk of that cost is the fall cleanups and the spring cleanups, where probably a summer seasonal, like a college kid or something like that wouldn't be available.
Okay.
They do a lot of like the tree trimmings or the bush trimmings, not the tree trimmings, but the, all the bushes around each of the grave sites and everything. But I can certainly ask the trustees.
No, it's just a thought, because I mean, I looked at it thinking about bidding that, and it's a lot of work. It's a ton of work. I mean, I figured by the time I finished, it'd be time to start again.
It's, the larger cemeteries aren't really even the issue,
Right.
where they can use it's Plains, Millstream, and Happy Hollow, where there's just,
Right.
they have to kind of get the small push mowers out and do those areas, and then weed whack that's like 4 days in and of itself. 7 o'clock here. Is there any other outstanding issues on the budget?
Pretty good.
I think we're definitely in a better spot than we were last year around this time.
Yeah,
You agree, Don?
What's that? Hey, what's
Saying,
that?
I think we're in a better spot than we were this time last year.
I don't know, I wasn't here, but I'm certain.
Take my word for it.
Okay, I'll go along with you.
I would definitely agree with that.
Well, we definitely, I mean, expenses were not as bad more in many departments this summer, for highway, for example, and even in health and human services, amazingly enough. But that doesn't mean it's gonna stay that way.
What are you doing with the old guns?
Huh?
What are you doing with the old guns?
So those,
Give them to the kids.
they'll be traded in.
there'll be a credit later.
Credit, yes. Because the other company won't take them?
They won't?
No.
Are these SIGs?
Yes.
He gets better than SIG, direct?
We buy 6 cheaper.
Really?
That's why I'm going away from Glocks.
Yeah, wow.
All right, we're going to move into our first appointment of the evening. It's Mr. Charles
If
Hannigan,
you're looking for, let me know.
RE, a building permit request.
Mr. Hannigan brought one more letter that was not copied to you. I only got the one copy. It's a letter from 1997 to Chairman Ken Weiler of the planning board. It's about conservation issues.
Hopefully I won't have to go in there.
Separate from the letter that came from Eddie Nathan, Susan.
Yeah, this is an old one that he's actually destroyed.
I'm still trying to get back here to my hometown. I don't know if you saw the paper they gave you. There's a business, 3 little words or something.
Mr. Hannigan, could you take your mask off, please? Thank you.
Yes. So few little words that we put them on. When we subdivided, caused a whole lot of trouble, as you can see, if you saw those papers we gave. Well, the 20-year work, trying to just get the darn thing straightened out. If you notice, some of the people involved in the planning boards and all that stuff, they fought against themselves, saying whether it was right or it wasn't right. It looked like people that wanted it given to them then. They say it was all wetlands. So, as far as I know, it was perfect. Subdivided, it was fine. That's fine, yes. I went to life, I was going to break that into myself. But anyways,
Wait,
someone over said what I have done here. I basically thought that it was tried on everything I know, including somebody recommended by the Selectmen, I forget his name, how you're top one there. Who was the last guy that thought you guys, I used to be a selectman, and now works at the planning.
Works where?
with the planning board,
The one guy,
Planning board? Is that what you said? I couldn't hear you.
anyway, he recommended that, at that time, he thought it was wetland too, and he recommended that I get and hire quick help to go out and check. Basically, upon what Quintel told me at that time and such, when we went out and such, he told me, oh, this spot right here, that's good for, no problem there. That'll pass anything we need to do. And here's another spot over here, and we'll do it. I gave him his check, and he said he'd put it all in writing and send it down to me. He never did. But, I mean, dropping it, I'm not trying to bring that up, other than the fact to say, he said it was dry land. If you saw in those papers, your uncle came in and testified that that was the reason for the wording. It wasn't meaning that it was wetland just because they put not for building. The gentleman who ran here the other day, the other week when I was here, St. Hilaire, you saw him there, he stood up and said it was right damn ridiculous. There was no problem with the land and stuff. So all the time, I believed I had dry land. Well, as I told you, I've hired these soil scientists. And he says, sorry to tell you this, but most of it is wetland. So, the ones who are saying it was wetland are right, the ones telling me it was dry land are wrong, including me. So right now, as far as I know, most of the land is wetland. The scientists and the soil specialists, I mean not soil specialists, or septic system specialists, they both picked out one little spot, and they claim that's the one spot, you know, probably, because you've seen the map, so one little spot on the end. Okay. That's the only place I have that's possibly dry. I'm asking for permission to put a house on that spot there. Now, the word might come up that there's really no buffer zone in between. There won't be. Maybe 5 feet in one spot or so. But consider the fact that Hannaford got permission and got the town and the planning board to allow to, well, he didn't take it because I understand he's something else went on, but in a record it showed that they gave Hannaford permission to fill in wetland up to handle 208 cars. Now, I don't think that without a single body of mine, you're going to cause as much trouble to be near wetland as 208 cars on filled wetland and still near wetland. Also, your American place over here, some of the old folks or whatever it is. Walk over there anytime, you can see big manifold roofs of built up places too, because they go on wetland.
That's not actually the case. The reason that was built up is because it's a new type of septic system that they're using wood chips as part of that.
That's septic system.
Correct. But the reason that's humped up is not because it's in a wet area, it's because they're using a different.
If you look, there's one spot over there, because I personally have seen it, right near the front. You go one up here, another one here. The distance apart between the two is about as far as between me and Mr. Wilson there. And in the middle, there's growing the weeds and stuff, that grow in ponds and such, right there. But they got permission to build over there. Now, as for me, I've been trying to settle it. My problem is, when I found out about all that, I went and I spoke to Elliot, I don't want to go away first name.
That's okay.
But she came, we met, not to discuss wetland or anything else, but we met to tell me how, what I need to do to go before her committee and such like that. That's why she did it. And I also talked to Edie Mason, I guess it is, about maybe if you people want this land so bad, as was born for 30-some years, maybe we can make a swap. I'll give you that land, and on the 26-acre piece that my wife and I gave the town, didn't sell yet, so we gave to the town, give me a couple of acres out of that. And she said, sounded like a good thing, but she got to check to see what it is. She checked. And she said, I can't do it. It takes, I have to go to the selectmen, and the selectmen, I think, do not have the power to do it. She said, well, she thought they didn't have the power to do it. And they would have to go to the townspeople at the next election. So I went and spoke to Mr. Briggs there and asked him if the selectmen were tied up and he couldn't do it. He said he would check with you people as to whether it was tied up. That's why I saw Mr. Briggs, and that's why I saw her. Because I noticed the last week, the last time I was here, you're going to look in shock at the rest of you that maybe they were doing something they shouldn't be doing. They didn't. Neither did Nathan. The only one I've had trouble with is your building inspector. I also went, when I first came here, I went to your head of the planning board. He was the first person I saw in the head of the planning board. He said, when we talked, I asked him, what do I need to do to get you know a building permit? I have the same idea what happened. I've been going for 20 years. And he said, well, won't do you any good. He said, because that's wetland, then I'll fight you all the way. Okay, that's when I switched over to the building inspector. And I called him, I tried to get an appointment to come and see him. He says he doesn't make appointments. Okay.
Mr. Hannigan, so we covered this last time when you were here. You told us what happened with the building inspector, and he wrote you a letter and requested that you show how you wanted to build on this site, correct?
Yeah, but hold on first, if you will, please.
Okay, but you're saying that he wouldn't make an appointment with you. That's when the town hall was shut down because of COVID.
I called him 5 times trying to get to talk to him to find out what I needed before that letter came. 5 different times I phoned him, said, can I come down and meet you? No, he's too busy, but nothing else. So he said, put it in writing. I said, what I want to know is, what do I put in writing? He said, put it in writing. So I did. You've probably seen the letter I put to him. I don't know what the heck he wanted. I found a form from your folks here. Turns out I had the wrong form. And it says on that form, it says sketch. Make a rough sketch on a square of what you're gonna put in there. I didn't know. I said I was gonna get a pre-built house, a modular home. And I don't know exactly what it is, but what do I need? So budget. He told me, and so when I told him I got the soil scientist, and I brought down this thing here, which if you pay and watch it and you look at it, it says right on there that they have not made the digging the hole and yet to see where the water level is on there. It says right on it, what you find out, we have not dug it, and it showed the thing there that it was trying to say that that piece of land is the only piece that's available, and this is what we'll take a house and we'll take a septic system, provide you give a variance. Now, going beyond the thing there, I read your aquifer thing, which that is aquifer area down. The aquifer area, your soil, your building inspector says I have to have 60,000 square feet of all dry land and stuff. If you read the regulation that come out, I finally got the full copy, that is if you're gonna subdivide. I wasn't planning to subdivide. I contacted the state. They said you don't have to subdivide. You can put it on what they call a curtilage. But what you take out, wherever the curtilage is what the town will tax you on. But the rest stays in open space. They said you can do it. And when I told story yesterday, when I told him about it, first thing he says, we have to go to the planning board and see if that land's any good. And she said, why am I going to the planning board? I'm telling you, it's wetland. The point is, can I put it here? That's what the point is. And then, but he said, bring me down a copy of that. I brought him down a copy, and I don't have to go there. I have to go through, I can't think of his name, the one that gives the final wording of occupancy. But if you read on the aquifer thing there, it says, please, single house, single place does not have to go to it. It says it has different looks and wordings and stuff in there. He's insisting that I got two letters from him, by the way. I got over just a passing page telling me I had to do it, and I got a second one telling me I must have 60 square feet, 1,000 square feet and stuff on there and such. No ifs, ands, and buts. And he's jumping to the bottom of his list because there's been other people before me. I've been going to him since June. That was my first contact with him, tried to talk to him and stuff. Anyway, another thing, after I left here last week, I figured, okay, let's see, maybe. I called him on the phone. I said to him, look, you and I have got a disagreement there, and it's challenging. Can we get together and just talk? I'll show you what I think should be done. You show me what you think should be done. I will go on and talk to you until you fill out everything I told you to do in a slip. That's what's been going on, I think. But my point right here now is, will you consider, oh, by the way, the other part there says about going to the zoning board. It says on there that if the building inspector thinks there's a problem, when he finds out what is wetland, he is supposed to immediately notify the zoning board. He said he never heard of that. I know it's not good, but he said, oh, I'll notify you this time. He said he doesn't know if you should do anything like that. But forgetting all that, Jeff, the point is down to this. I'd like to come back, I'd like to do it, and what I also will agree is the conservation would like to have that piece of land. You put me in there, and that building site, the balance of 10 acres, I will work with them to turn that into a park. And you don't need another place where people can run. Well, what you don't have in this town is something they have in this town, Florida, and that's a simple park where the people, the only ones go in, is like, say, you, for example, say you got some preschool children. You break it up, you have it broken, like here, here's a spot here, here's another one, here's one over here, and such like that, where the family can take the small children in up to, say, preschool or first or second grade, where they're not trying to go to the other park over there, where you got it, where the big kids are in there, where they're throwing baseballs and footballs and stuff away. And I give it to them, man. The only requirement I have on it is that it gets me after my life. Who gave this guy? Who gave the 26 acres? Who gave me other place over there for such children? But what harm and there's what help going to do on that little place? And it says that the zoning board, no, not the zoning, I'm sorry, the other board there, the Navy board, it says, have decided if they disagree or the building inspector is supposed to turn in a report to the selectmen saying he doesn't recommend the selectmen giving a permit to have a house there. And Mrs. Mason, from their job, is supposed to give her version of it. It says that selectmen issue the permit. Not the planning board, the selectmen issue the permit. I'm asking you, as selectmen, to let me go there. If you don't go there, the damn thing just, it blows all up. You saw the papers I gave you last time about you have to pay me. You may not agree with me, but I've got half a dozen more showing a lot of the neighboring towns over here and went through the same problem, and they had to pay our money. Why don't we get that? It makes the town look like that. But I'd like to move in there and take it back home. Will you let me? Okay.
So the short answer is no. And the report that you're referring to we're taking as the letter that Mr. Stewart sent you, explaining why he couldn't issue you a building permit. Hang on, I let you talk, you need to let me talk now, sir.
I can't hear you.
It was the letter that he sent to you stating all of the reasons he could not issue you a building permit. You had a soil scientist that stated it was wetlands, correct?
One thing, I did not ask him for a building permit. Read all those papers and stuff. I asked to talk to him to find out what I needed, and that's what he kept rejecting me on.
Okay, so what we need to see in order to issue a building permit is something from a wetland scientist, a soil scientist stating that it is a buildable area. And you've provided none of that. To fit the current regulations, you haven't provided anything that says that that is a buildable lot. I understand that you have a history since 1980 trying, that it was miscategorized or whatever, but the most recent one from 2007 states from the planning board that the lot is not a building lot until evidence is provided by the property owner that all state and local lot and building requirements can be satisfied on the property. That was from 2007, and that still remains the case.
Yes.
But you haven't provided anything to state that that will meet the state and local lot laws.
I agree that, I just told you my style up. I agree. It is wetland, it is considered to be wetland. I agree that 20 years fighting I was under the belief it wasn't wetland. And half your boards at that time also agreed with me. Some didn't agree with me, some did. And we finally settled the down thing that there was no problem getting that subdivision at that time, and there was no problem after supposedly they found it was wetland, because I got another permit from the planning board which didn't say it was on wetland, which put the house over there on it there. They didn't argue about it being wetland, they agreed it wasn't wetland for the house over there. There's a second thing on there, you had a house built there, which put it too close to the lot line, and the selectmen were telling him it would have to be torn down, or the house would have to be moved.
Right, I read that. Listen, but we're here now, and where we are is without documentation stating that it meets state and local rules to make that lot compliant, we cannot do a thing. Because there would be a line of people around the town hall who have wetlands on their property that would be trying to subdivide it, because that would set the precedent that
If you cannot do it,
we cannot do it.
how come you gave Hannaford permission to do it?
There is not a Hannaford in Kingston that I'm aware of.
No, Hannaford's not here because somebody else challenged them because of what it was. But you got a copy there, I gave you a copy showing where the planning board voted to give them a place for them to fill in, I don't know, 11,000, 100,000 square feet of wetland just to put automobiles on. Now, you're saying, I can't, I'm not even asking for anything on wetlands. I'm asking to put it on the little bit of dry land that's still there. You're saying you don't have the right to do it. Then how did you let the planning board do it, but you don't have the right to do it?
So the planning board is an independently elected body that we don't have any jurisdiction
The planning
over.
board, people hired by you as selectmen.
They're hired by the people of this town when they vote for them.
Let me answer the Hannaford's thing. There's a rule that allows somebody to replace a wetland. That's what Hannaford's was going to do. They were going to buy land in another
I just
place.
offered to do it.
Huh?
You just heard me offer to do it.
Hannaford's could do what they were doing. They were gonna buy another piece of property to replace the wetlands with.
Don't you think that the fact that I've already pushed that a couple of times, and I'm willing to add another 10 acres of wetland, give that to your wetland group in here?
Again, in that example, as he's stating, most of that was upland. They had more than 60,000 square feet of upland, and they bought other areas. I don't feel that that's applicable to a residential lot.
And that's not our rule, that's a state rule.
In your, all I'm saying, come on, say again, in your paper, read it, in the business there, it says that the 60,000 square feet thing applies when you're making a subdivision. When you're making a subdivision, that 60,000 square feet applies. It does not apply when you got a single house going in.
You already subdivided that lot previously though, didn't you?
It does not apply. It says so in your own paperwork.
The paperwork I'm looking at has it 4A and 4B. That's a subdivided lot. That's by very definition. Just the numbers alone tell me it's a subdivided lot. So it has to meet the 60,000 square foot requirement as a subdivided lot.
Okay, so my point is, I'm asking you, and I'm asking all 5 of you, not just 1 or 2 of you, all 5 of you, to tell me here now, if you're going to tell me here, that you will not allow me to put a house on that place there.
Well, I'll say exactly what Phil said. If you can come to us with a wetland scientist report showing that there's an area to build on, I'll give you the permit. But until then, the soil land, the wetland scientist, if you can prove there's enough dry land there to build on, they approve a house lot and septic.
You see the dry land, shows you what it is, it's approximately maybe a little under an acre.
I don't want you to say there's this much. I want a plan from a wetland scientist showing it.
I gave you one.
I've never seen one.
Mr. Hannigan, I appreciate all the service you did for the town, but when I looked through the minutes from the previous planning board, it said the same thing. You have to put forward a legitimate plan by a soil scientist and surveyor. If you do that, then it is, and you prove it's buildable, I think all of us will give you the building permit.
By the soil scientist, I'll show you. It's 20 years work. By the way, just off the subject of it, in case you aren't aware of it, I have a message, a letter here from this is a little off the subject. Did you know that town, when I put in Route 125, they're gonna take a little part of that place over there, which you call saving from Aquifer, something. There's gonna be that drainage area. If you don't know it, you ought to check it. I gotta think what these things are.
All right, so Mr. Hannigan, if you do have something like that, nobody on this board is qualified to look at that and say that that is what you say it is. We have a building inspector, we have engineers, we have people who review that kind of thing. So it's not gonna get resolved tonight if you do have that.
Hang on. By the way, I know what happened, I hope. Did I give you one?
I didn't receive
that one showing the area there?
If it's not in that packet of stuff from last
There's
week.
no map, there's no map in
The
this.
one showing the road going down.
Is that the one that he gave to Robert?
That's more I gave you that.
From 1980, is this what you're talking about, Charlie, from 1980?
Oh, no.
No,
No,
it's not.
that, by the way, that was in there to show how,
How it was developed back then. You know, that's why we say it's already been subdivided once before. But that's the only, we have no other maps in the material records.
what I gave you from that is what, Stuart called not a map, just just a, first one, I gave you guys one. The map the one I'm talking about is the one showing the Anhanian Lane and showing where I want to put the house.
But if it doesn't have a wetland scientist stamp on it, It's no
does
good.
It shows where the wetland is.
pertaining to that lot and not Ann Hannigan.
It shows I'm within, at one point, within 5 feet of the wetland. It shows that. I'm telling you, it's within 5 feet of wetland on one side. Damn. One thing I probably left alone.
So, Mr. Hannigan, we would need to see something like that, stamp mark with a wetland scientist stamp, and it would have to show what the building plan is in relation to that area.
That's,
We don't have it, Charlie, we really don't have it.
the plan, you see, if you got in the, Mr. Stewart's letter, he says that's just a project, it's not shown. Here you missed the seeing the map, and it's put out, it's signed by Jacobs. Jacobs is a soil scientist. Not Jacobs. I know you guys must know him. He does a lot of work around here. He's put on there, and he's the one who listed where the wetland is, and he's on it, and he says, and he agrees that what they have found is what they're now going to do to that land. On one side of that land, by the way, on one side of that land, is dry land. It is, because it's the side of the road. That's dry land. It's on one side only is wetland. Damn it. I can bring that into you. And what it says on there, asking you if, and we put in there, it mentions in there, it shows where a house would go, it shows where the septic system would go, the type of thing there, and your building inspector says, oh, it doesn't show where the driveway's going to be or where the well's going to be. It
Those are important facts.
It stays right on the map. It's the third point is this, will you accept that if, then, because it's easy to put in a driveway and a well,
Yeah, but you can't put a driveway through the middle of the wetlands.
The dry, I told you, the only spot I'm gonna use is dry land.
Okay, we could talk about it all night, but until there's an actual plan approved by a wetland scientist and a septic designer approved by the state with all the required things to meet the codes and regulations of the town, we won't issue a building permit, sir. I'm sorry.
The total regulation of the town, as he says, his building inspector says I have to be 100 feet from wetland.
It's not just him who says that, the state says that as well.
Well, for your information, when I talked to you about Hannaford over there, where I said that they said about the wetland, the state approved filling in the land, wetland, because they also gave them permission.
And Mr. Wilson just explained to you why that was.
Supposedly he's going to give more. I just told you, I'll give you the 10 acres more. It's 11 acres. I'm going to want to use one of dry land, and I'll give you the other damn 10. I told you that. How much more do you want? If that's what it is, how much more do you want?
Mr. Hannigan, we cannot allow you to build a house in the wetlands without meeting the basic requirements to do so.
Okay, in other words, let's stop. You're saying no, right? You will not consider giving me permission to have a house, is that right?
Correct.
Right? Is that right?
As it sits right now, yes, sir. That is correct.
Okay? Then we're just standing here arguing. I think you've saw what I said, and I think you're going to find out, and I think it's disgusting that you let, you talk about the 60,000 land. How about somebody who has a piece of land which is not even 60, and you allow them to put 3 duplexes? No, you're wrong. How come you allow them to put 3 duplexes? Oh, how do you go, and then you want to think, go look at the one up on the road, up beyond the library there, the road that goes towards Fremont and such. Where the old house used to be for the last 20 years, they tore it down, and they're putting 7 houses in there and stuff. That isn't even 60,000 in length or width for the 7 houses. If each house has to have 60,000 square feet, why don't they have to have 7 times 60? You work, the system works, it seems the guy with the one little house is the one that you can't fight, you know. So he's the one that gets pushed off by the planning board. And this says that you people have the right to use some common sense. Where's that letter I gave you just now, Susan? Did they see that?
With that way, yeah, I only just got it just now, so we only have the one copy. That's it's a letter to Ken Weiler.
So you can run all out, do something not to hurt people, do something that you can help them, and you can't do it by just taking, and the guy with the money gets away, because the guy with some 7 houses has got the money. I would be glad to do. I tried to find a house around here, but when I came up from down there, we spent that time down there. We kept this land so we could have a house when we got here, but the thought that there was enough land to build, begging a full lot, sell some and pay for building our house and stuff here. We were wrong. I am saying we're wrong. I'm saying I agree with this wetland. But there's a little spot of dry land there, enough to put a house, enough to put a septic system on there, if you give a variance.
Again, we're not the zoning board. We don't have the authority to give a variance.
And that's it. You will consider it, and I presume all of you are in agreement, right? You won't consider doing it unless I have 60,000 square feet.
Just get the plan.
If you can get a plan stamped by someone, I will sign off on it, and I believe everyone else said they would.
Will you accept the size of the lot and where it's at?
No, we need to see the plan. A stamped plan.
And if it's too small, you will need to go to the ZBA.
But if you can find enough land where a house and a septic system can go, even if it's not 60,000 feet, if you can find 50,000, then you need a 10,000 square foot variance, then you could go to the zoning board, Charlie. But you don't have a certified plan that shows in that 10 acres of wetlands that there is enough land to build a house, even an acre. You make it so hard.
I know you're ignorant, there's no possibility of a neighborhood. I didn't look in the folder for the building.
Mr. Hannigan, I don't think we're going to reach resolution on this tonight. If you do find something like that, please submit it along and we can have a further discussion.
Not yet. My point is, I'm trying to get you to state one thing. Is it possible, if I show you a thing, the land thing, if we can get into the guy's office in here,
Anything is possible with a certified plan.
where, and I
Certified, Charlie, not a drawing. You have to have a scientist, hydro scientist, find a spot where you can put a house.
This was made by the scientist. Yeah, now, will you accept if the scientist says, this is the land, this piece right here like this? Will you accept a piece like this with all this being wetland?
No, it has to have a septic, a well, and a driveway. Show it on the plan.
And it's, okay, I'm saying, if this is a piece of dry land like this, it shows it on that plan. It shows it, it places a house in there, it places a septic system in there. There's a place to put the well and stuff.
Charlie, we need a drawing. We can't just do like sand tables on the table. We don't know where you're talking about. Nobody knows what you're saying right now because we don't have it in front of us. We're not going to be able to make a decision or promise you anything without it.
I'm asking you if you consider
We would consider it, but we need a drawing from a certified wetland scientist with his stamp on it to even consider it.
it. Well, you require 60,000 square feet.
It needs to meet the town regulations. If it doesn't, hang on. If it does not, you can go to the zoning board for a variance if it's within reason. But if there's 20,000 square feet and there's not enough room for the septic or a driveway or a well, we can't say yes.
If I go to the zoning board,
But you can't start this, you gotta start here, Charlie. You gotta start here.
I
Can't,
go, I The young lady explained how to get to the zoning board. Very nice. And quite frankly, she thought I wouldn't get anywhere, save my money. Thank you. But
You know, I don't play fair with you, Charlie.
she can't add, the zoning board, can they issue the permit?
There needs to be a variance from the zoning board before a permit is issued, if it is not in compliance with the regulations.
If the zoning board grants a variance, then you would still go to Mr. Stewart, the building inspector, to get the permit. And he can't give it unless two things again, you need a certified plan, then depending on what you need for variance, if the zoning board grants it, then you go back to the building inspector, and he then has a certified plan with the well, the driveway, the septic, and a variance for the zoning if you need it, and then you can give a permit.
The building inspector has told me, no way.
No way given current circumstances. You can't give one now. No one can. Until we see a certified plan, Charlie.
I'm asking the zoning board, you're from the zoning board now.
Right?
Do you give variances?
Yeah, we do. More, too many since this guy.
Zoning board of approval. They changed the name.
I have to go to get them, I have to get the permission from the building inspector.
You gotta get past this group here. You gotta get past the selectmen with a certified plan. And then if you need some exceptions to the plan, then you'd go to the zoning board. But you don't have a plan yet, Charlie. You don't have a certified plan that says, let's say you have an acre, let's say you have 30,000 dry feet in all that 10 acres of wetlands. If you've got an acre that you could put a driveway, septic, and a house, and you need 2 acres, but you only have 1, you could probably go to the zoning board then. But you don't have anything right now. You don't have a certified plan of what to build. I'm sorry, Charlie, I know it's
Why
frustrating.
don't you give in a certified plan tomorrow?
Well, you won't get to the zoning board tomorrow. You have to come back
Again, it
here.
will be reviewed by the town engineer and the building inspector.
I'm sorry, what?
It will be reviewed by the town engineer and the building inspector, and then it will come before this board if it meets all the requirements.
Okay,
Sir, we have other people who are waiting, so I feel like we're just going in circles here. We're repeating ourselves a lot.
I think we got it. I think we turn it over to the national town, pay me the money because you denied me all use of the land. Thank you.
Have a good evening. Thank you for coming in.
Thank you all.
Jim, do you mind if we let Tammy go ahead of you real quick? I promise it'll be quick. Okay, thank you.
Don't say that.
Hello, everybody. I wanted to thank you.
I'll take the
for-
mask off so we can
Thank
hear
you,
you.
sorry. I want to thank you all, first of all, for your participation in the election. I think it went very well. After the last election, you very nicely sent me a letter along with Rich St. Hilaire and Ellen, and to thank me, and I was hoping that you would do the same for my ballot clerks and supervisors of the checklist for this last election. They did a great job.
They did.
Absolutely.
So I have created a list of their names and labels, and I was hoping that you would let me work with Susan and work.
You're buying the stamps, right?
I'm gonna peel them off those things that were picked up from New Jersey. Yeah.
The staff and the people that worked that day did an outstanding job, there's no question.
I think there's numerous examples across the country of what happens when you have incompetent people in charge of elections. And it is a source of pride for me, and I think for everybody in this
No
town.
question.
The job that was done by you, your staff, Ellen, everybody together. It was a very difficult situation, but also the people who came out and who followed the rules, went right through. I know it was hard, everybody wanted to talk, but people kept moving, and I think everybody did an admirable job.
Thank you.
We kept him in the back, so we couldn't talk to him.
Mr. Personality.
Can I just say, I wasn't even there, so Select Pro Temp was there.
Yes, it was.
But with the turnout that you had, it was incredible, the results, how fast you had it. As long as I've been in town, that was the fastest we ever got results. So that was a testament to what went on. I was out there in the morning, it seemed the flow was going good. I was pretty impressed. Without even being there, I was impressed.
Not only that, but 1,000 absentee ballots.
Yeah.
That added to it.
That was huge.
Yeah.
So the system, the process that it's
Be
been
glad you didn't
organized is
do it.
fabulous.
Everybody did a fantastic job. They worked hard.
And just to let you know, tax bills have gone out. They went out today. We got the warrant late Thursday afternoon. We worked really hard to get them stuffed in the envelopes, and they're gone. So we should expect some revenue.
That's really happy for that.
Thank you for that.
Well, when did go down.
They did go down, and we should expect some revenue to start coming in. So
Sounds good.
thank you very much.
Thanks, Jen.
Thank you.
Thank you
Tomorrow.
very much.
Thank you. Thank you very much.
You gonna leave a list?
Are they gonna work together?
Okay. Said we went by. Your time's up.
Yeah, we've done. Jim Dufresne with Hawkridge. I submitted a letter for a request. I don't know what else to say. I brought Mark Barnes with me because Mark's been out there doing the work, dealing with Dennis Quintel, and Charlie Zilch was dealing with Dennis Quintel, and Charlie and Dennis and Glenn Greenwood have agreed to this TRC so they can get something approved into the planning board once to get this corrected, not over a year, but one meeting. What a concept.
Having been in all of those meetings, I can tell you it's a beautiful concept. So I'm just gonna read you Dennis's response for your email. You guys mind if I do that?
Yeah.
When I last met with Jim and Charlie on Tuesday, Jim did ask that I report to the selectmen in hopes that I would be able to sway them into lifting the C&D. I do not have a report because there needs to be plans for changes submitted for review. I do not know how significant the changes will be, so that is not going to help the selectmen or if the changes will trigger an amended plan. See attached email chain. So,
Did he tell you all the work that's been done out there?
well,
What we've done, not what we're gonna do, but what we've actually done out there.
okay.
And that's,
So he hasn't done a report of that, but I mean, I've heard, so in our inspectors meetings, it's been reported back to us, and actually a couple of the residents have stopped by, some,
I go down every week.
yeah, some wondering what's going on, but,
well, all the residents are emailed by me before we go in there. Before Mark goes into behind someone's house or in front of someone's house, I send them an email letting them know that Mark is coming out there to do culverts or drainage pipe, catch basins. They're all getting emails.
yeah. No, I'm not saying it as a negative, I mean, they're happy that things are progressing forward instead of just sitting there. Did you have something?
No.
He's doing both residential stuff at the same time he's doing stuff on the road, drainage and what have you in the road, so I go up on a regular basis. So they've done a good job. They've done most of the whole lower and the right side going in as well.
Yeah, we added a manhole catch basin. We got all the drainage through the woods that wasn't done, that's all complete. Most of the driveway culverts are in, that we're gonna put in. I think we're gonna do some other things. Some of the other driveways that don't really need it, they just need to be shimmed up and stuff. So we get a lot accomplished. So what kind of we were hoping to do was, so they don't have the problem again, is get all 5 foundations in, and I finish all the site. So whoever builds on them, the drainage will be done complete as far as that goes.
The culverts, the swales, the gravel driveways are all
I'll
installed.
have it all intact and loomed and seeded, and so I think that's what we're really pushing for. Then, of course, you're gonna probably have to blast and hammer in there, so we get the rough stuff out of the way.
Which lots are those?
But then,
33, 34, 30, 31, and 2. 2 bent grass, 33 bent grass, 34 bent grass, and 30 and 31 mulligan way. And that's really just to tie all the swales and culverts and everything together with the foundations so that it's done right the first time.
yeah, the sewer and the water will all be in the houses. And then who cares who comes in afterwards, as far as if he sells to different
So
people.
what you're asking, you want release of bond money, is that, I'm coming,
No, there's-
I'm a rookie here, so please be.
There's a cease and desist for any further work in there. So what I'm getting here is you want foundation permits, and that's it.
Well, he's got.
Well, I'd like to get the houses released too so they could be done and finish everything with those also.
Okay.
He's got one house on the far side that's all finished on the outside.
Frame roof inside.
Everything's done, and it really wasn't affected by most of the drainage. It's already had the swales and everything in it.
Yeah, we just had the culvert over that driveway.
So there was minimal issues. But when we did the cease and desist, that shut down the whole job. So there's one that's all sided and built, and we're just sitting there on that cease and desist, right behind the one Billy Bartlett built, right?
Exactly right, yeah.
And then there's the one on the corner that people are concerned about, did you talk to Dennis about that one particular house?
I think it'll come up with Charlie and Dennis and Glenn Greenwood with their TRC meeting. But sitting when the court hearing, when Bob took the town to court, or the planning board to court, Bob tried to move a house across the street, and it wasn't gonna happen. If you sat there and listened to the judge, then it wasn't gonna happen. So I filled the hole, I broke up the foot and filled the hole. Now the house that's there that's not sided, whatever becomes of that, I guess that'll, between Dennis, Charlie, and Glenn Coffman, or Greenwood, I apologize.
But they do have one right now that you could release, that was really stuck in between the cease and desist. It's all sided. There's one that's really no harm, no foul. It's done, it's completed, and it's ready to go. And every time I go up there, I look at it and say, well, we should probably release that one anyway. Not affecting anything.
But the reason was they weren't going by the site plan. And we were waiting for an amended site plan, and this, now a year?
Well, I think what they're gonna.
Over a year, we've been waiting for an amended site plan to release it. And we're not saying to have the work done, just an amended site plan so we know what is gonna be acceptable and what's gonna go in there for us to release it.
I think what they're doing, correct me if I'm mistaken, isn't gonna be like an as-built when you're done? and
Yeah, we're kind of going by the original plan,
By the original.
yeah.
But until it's on paper that it's gonna be done, I can't see. That was the whole thing, we're just waiting for a plan of what you're gonna do.
Well, that original house that I just spoke of, that's on the original plan.
It is, but it's all the drainage, the swales, the everything, the undersized piping that was used. It was everything. That's why we said, stop until you give us a plan.
Well, we completed the drainage that was never done.
Yeah.
And catch basins that were never done, and culverts that were never done. Those have all been installed to the plan.
That's what they've done now.
So, yeah, but is it,
It's,
I don't think we need to submit a plan on work that was, we did by the approved plan.
What you did was what was on the original.
Exactly.
Yeah,
So, I guess my opinion is I don't mind releasing the house he's talking about, but I would want to talk to Dennis first.
No problem.
Yeah, I would feel more comfortable, and I know which one you're speaking about, and if that is in compliance with the existing site plan, then I really would have no problem releasing that specific one. I think, like Rich said, you know, the rest of it, the problem was is that none of that drainage was complete and there were additional houses planned to go in there.
We don't have anything from Dennis saying he's happy with what's been done, you're catching up, you've done this much, you're not.
Oh, and again, all I said to Dennis was, if you can just report back what has been done, each of them, I can only tell them what's been done, because that's all we're looking for, Dennis. And to put in other foundations is nothing more than to tie all the swales and
Sewer and
the culverts and everything else that tied everything in, that per the plan.
Well, there was also the question of the gutters in the houses, were those ever put?
I'm sorry, what?
The gutters in the houses? Gutters, rain gutters?
roof gutters.
Yeah, there are gutters in all the houses out there.
There is?
There was supposed to be a tie-in, I guess, with the swale system.
And I think something got submitted to the state that got rid of that with other work done in the drainage thing. And these are things that Charlie and Dennis can all work out between them. I know there was a permit granted by the state that never got back to the town planning board.
So you still need to wait for Dennis's report then, basically?
I guess my personal feeling on it is I appreciate that you're at that point now, because we were miles away from that before where,
We were nowhere last year.
yeah, and
I would say that the planning board's the one that asked us to put the cease and desist. So it would be the planning board that would need to say to us whether it be one house or all 5 house lots.
well,
I'm sorry, it's not the planning board. The planning board's out of this.
Yeah.
The planning board approved the plan. And if you town engineer just says they built it to the plan, or they have it, or they made concessions to make it work. I think that's what's happened here.
Yeah, two places.
The planning board is not in this.
Right.
They're not in this fight.
The only way the planning board will be back in it is if there's significant changes to the plan.
and we
Yeah,
did,
we redesigned the whole drainage system, we've done something that we need to,
we did give Dennis the authority to
Yes.
be on site and make things
Right.
work, because there were things where people were already occupying the buildings and things like that. But I think we should have Dennis in next Monday.
I'd just like to have it, I don't even care if it's a meeting or if we just have a conversation with him. You know,
I don't have a problem with
And-
this.
Would you be okay with that?
I'll be okay if Dennis signs off on it.
Now, when you guys are going for an amended site plan to the planning board, or?
I'm sorry.
Are you still doing an amended site plan with the planning board?
Yes, I think Charlie just got approval from Glenn Koppelman, or Glenn Greenwood, I didn't get that called. Glenn Greenwood and Dennis to get together in this TRC meetings during the week.
Yep.
So they can get it all wrapped up and done and go to the planning board once and saying, here it is. This is the amended in a couple spots. But we've done, on Mulligan Way, we've done culverts and drains that was per the plan, approved plan that Mark came and put in. That's what Mark's been doing, the work on the.
Right, and no, that's what we've heard, but again, I think.
And putting in more foundations is doing nothing more than just tying all the swales in the project.
Right, to finish according to the plan, absolutely.
And we wouldn't look for building permits, it's gonna take so much time to put the
Well, you need a
foundations up.
foundation permit.
Everything's gonna be done, and then we can do the building
but
permit.
them 5, we can put everything in per plan. It's bent grass circle around the north side that you really can't put it per plan because of where the electric went and everything, that's what they're gonna have to get, some changes and figure out how to correct all them spots, but where the foundations are, everything should be right to the T of the plan.
I would want to talk to Dennis before we approve any foundation plans or anything.
The other thing they've done, there was a lot of drainage issues around some of the foundations and stuff on the private property. Down below, when I went down there, you were digging around the foundations and stuff. So they fixed a lot of other drainage, not only on the road, but around some of the roads.
One of the homeowners had a problem with how his lot was graded, and Mark.
Yeah, with the walkout basement without a bond.
No, that,
No.
That's it.
around the corner from that, like 2 houses, 3 houses.
from the road it looked fine until you walked behind his lot and looked out, it's like, what was he up, 8 inches too high?
Yeah.
So the water was coming, not going to the swales, it was going into his basement. And Mark came in, we just, if we can go in and fix something, we'll fix it.
Yeah, absolutely. Let's just get a hold of Dennis tomorrow, see when we can meet with him. Does that work for the
That's
board?
fine, that's fine.
He's been our guy on the ground and he's gonna know what's happening.
Yeah, he's been out there.
You guys, I just, trust but
We've run
verify.
into a lot of situations where what was on the site plan and what is are two different things.
Yeah.
And so we're trying to get a system going whereby everyone's on the same page and that we don't have to worry about what's gonna happen 5 years from now because it's on the site plan.
And the foundations that are going in are being done per the plan.
It's
With
even
the
better.
culverts, with the swales, and with the water and sewer lines, and
In the right location.
the locations inside the Lemon area.
Not wherever we want.
Not across the street, I mean, or up the street, it's word show.
What's the lot number that's almost complete?
Lot 7, I think.
Lot 7?
And then the only other thing that I would bring up, since you guys are here, is there was some issue, Robert Stewart has brought it up numerous times with the numbering. Not the one you moved, but there was another one that was,
Across the street.
there was a unit on the plan, and then the actual number it got. You would have to talk to him, but he's brought it up quite a
I
few
think
times.
that was the footing that Bob moved across the street.
No, it wasn't that one, it was another one on top of that. So there was two discrepancies, there was the one that got moved across the street, and then there was a number that got switched at some point that he's trying to get resolution
I
on.
think that was a land unit number, probably, not the street number, and I think the chief can attest to that, what's out there. Everything lines up, what's it, the 911, the numbering is right on point.
Okay. You want to just double check
Yeah,
with Robert
I will.
on that one?
Yeah, sure.
because He's brought it up to me numerous times.
Yep.
I just want to make sure we capture that before
Sure.
we close this out.
Who's calling Dennis? You want me to call him, or do we want to set up a Zoom with him sometime?
Yeah, I think a Zoom would probably work for that.
You want to let Susan call him then? Set up a Zoom?
When are you guys available, when do you want me to aim for?
Do we need a Zoom, or one of you two being, you're on planning board or you're chairman? I mean, if you talk to him, say, get what he says and relay to us, I'm
If
okay
you
with
want to
it.
make a motion expressing that, then
I will make a motion that the chair or his designee contacts Dennis Quintel to find out the status of the cease and desist and his recommendation.
And I'll second that.
discussion. My only caveat on that would be is I'll just report everything that I find
Right.
to the board and we'll go from there.
And the recommendation could be either, at the very least, allow the one house, the yellow one, or all 5 of the foundation permits.
Or a couple of them.
So why don't, I would suggest you come back next week, so we'll have an answer.
Yeah, can we come before Mr. Hankin? No.
Let him laugh. Let him laugh.
Sign up now.
First one on.
He walks in next week, I'm walking out.
Yeah, all right, I'll, so roll call vote, please, Susan.
Alessio?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Schultz?
Yes.
AJ?
Yes.
Wilson?
Yes.
Okay.
All right, I'll call Dennis tomorrow.
Yeah, whoever does it, just contact everyone, let us know.
Now, back to my question, who's calling Dennis?
I'll call Dennis tomorrow.
Okay.
Okay, we're walking.
All set? See you Thursday.
Yes, you will.
Have a nice night.
Bye now.
Mr. Singer, you all packed up?
I'm not going up.
Oh, you're not? Oh, bummer. That's too bad.
Well, now that we got the easy ones done. Rich, are you here for the timber
Yeah,
intense?
you guys use my name and date over here.
We did not use your name in vain.
Blame Rich Nagle there, so we can.
said we weren't gonna do anything without you.
So let's just go over intent to cut. I didn't bother with the job description for the tree warden when it's got nothing to do with the intent to cut. Intent to cut permit is a DRA permit for tax purposes only. The Board of Selectmen's duty is to sign it within 15 days. Period. And send it on, unless there's forced exceptions. Unless the form has been improperly filled out, all right? The land is enrolled in unproductive current use category that does not allow timber harvesting. That's number 2. Number 3 is.
Wait, can we ask questions as you go?
Go ahead.
Current.
Because I don't have all those answers, but go ahead and ask.
Well, current use, does it specify current use that cannot cut timber?
I guess there is a classification.
Okay.
Because so I heard about this, and then Susan didn't know if I was supposed to be involved or not, so I spent 4 or 5 hours digging into it. I talked to the DRA. First started with the state forest ranger. Kraus is his last name. He sent me to DRA, because that's what he has to do, because it's a tax issue. This form is a tax form, basically. The DRA guy is Hoffman, something like that.
Noah Hoffman that we deal with, yeah.
Which they deal with downstairs on a regular basis. So anyway, I made those phone calls, did some snooping around, read the RSAs. So there's 4 categories, and I guess there is current use that says basically it's unproductive and you can't cut timber on it. I don't understand the whole current use thing. I didn't do that research. The third thing is a timber tax bond is required but has not been posted. There are certain instances where timber tax bond is, if the trees are being cut and somehow the landowner is not involved in the cutting process, there's got to be a bond posted. Or if they haven't paid the taxes. Before, if that property hasn't had the taxes paid, they're delinquent. It's one of the reasons why you don't have to issue an intent to cut unless they post a bond so they can pay their taxes out of the receipts from the timber, so the town gets protected. So within 15 days, what you need to do is sign the intent to cut. Susan or Tori, I think, give it some sort of a number. There's a process of putting a number on it, and that goes back to the State Department of Revenue Administration. What you do, or what you should do from that point, is as soon as you get the intent to cut, it needs to go to a bunch of different groups. You send it to town clerk, as they paid the taxes. Send it to conservation. Is there some sort of easement? One of the ones that you're going to talk about here, there is a conservation easement that the town spent $200,000 or $300,000 buying. And you need to make sure that that easement is being satisfied. Conservation, if there is, send it to conservation, is there pristine wetlands that we're worried about being encroached on, and there's all kinds of rules that conservation need to worry about. But as soon as you get that application, you send it out to these different folks. The road agent, are they going to haul that timber over a road that might need to have a bond put on the road? Is the road adequate to handle that kind of traffic? What time of year is it? And then you got just a little bit of time, because you need to send this back to the landowner signed also, and the state. You want to send back in registered letter form that, this land, are you aware this land is under a conservation easement, and X, Y, and Z need to happen before you do a timber cut. To do a timber cut on the Newman property, which is the one that we're looking at right now, used to be the Mayhew property. In 2003, they did a substantial cut There was one done by Mayhew. He sold the property. He died. The property was sold. Newman bought it in 2003. They did a substantial timber harvest there. Probably overcut. Conservation at the time, Dave Ingalls sent a letter. Whoever looks over those conservation easements, the letter's in the file downstairs, and it came back that we should not issue any more, we shouldn't allow any more cutting until a new plan has been developed and the town is in agreement with forestry plan, forest management plan.
Is that pretty standard for all conservation easements?
Pretty much.
Okay.
But each one is different, they have to be read. And someone has to take those easements, look at it. Depends on what group holds these, whether it's the Society of Protection of Forests, or whether it's Southeast Land Trust, or who it's with.
So we need a form that these can be
I
checked.
think a cover letter is probably just
Okay.
with the bullets right on
bullets
there.
on it to make sure that, because you need to make sure that all this is followed through on in 15 days?
Yeah,
30 days.
30 days total.
Okay.
15 days, this board is supposed to sign it. And again, I think there's some wiggle room there because two different people, one said 15 days, the selectmen have to sign it. Someone else said 30 days, and I don't remember which. So
Okay.
within 30 days, that they need to be signed and sent back to
30 days.
Concord. So to go back to the Newman property, 2003 did a cut, 2005, the Board of Selectmen received a letter saying shouldn't do any more cuts until a new forestry plan. Somehow that letter got lost or whatever. In 2010, we issued another intent to cut. Kind of forgot about the warning from 2005, so they did a substantial cut in 2010 or 13, and here we are in 2020 trying to do another cut. Mr. Newman is aware of that, I believe.
He is now.
Whether he's going to come up with a forestry plan.
He said he was.
Forester. But it's got to be approved by us because we hold the easement on that property.
Right.
Not by us, by the town, by the town of Kingston, because the Conservation Commission, that's not a town forest, it's just a piece of property that the town owns the easement on.
So, part of what you said or read and some of the stuff, we cannot require them to survey the land. That would be their responsibility, that we can't require it as part of the intent?
No.
Okay. So if they have no idea where their property line is and they cut off of it, they're responsible for damages?
The landowner is absolutely responsible. If he allows the timber cutter to
So
cross
that's
over the
definitely in our cover letter.
Correct.
And the bond you're talking about is strictly for tax payment and not for damages?
So I've got some of the information here if you guys can read it over.
Okay.
And maybe we could ask some other towns their process, but this is some,
I think if anything, it'd be a lien we place against the logging, so we get our payment first and then they can take what's left.
Well, I mean, my first thought is if we had a bond on some of these cuts that we've had, we could have kept the bond for overcuts
Or damaging someone's property, town property.
Do we have legal ability to set a
That's
bond
what I'm-
on timber cut?
I have no idea.
I'd imagine the planning board would probably have that authority if it's in a sensitive area or a budding.
Can I read?
They might
can I
be
back
new
here?
process.
Go ahead,
There's an
Susan.
RSA 79:10-A. Owners that own land within the town the cutting is to take place and are current on property taxes and timber taxes cannot be required to post a timber tax bond.
okay.
It's,
Answers that.
But that's not necessarily well, anyway.
So anyways,
It's a solution in need of a road.
that's what I dug up, that's what I found. it kind of answers, we need to set up a system. You can't use the intent to cut as anything other than it's a state permit. It's basically notifying you that, okay, if you do your homework, you can collect some revenue, tax revenue. It's not that much on a timber tax, but any money coming in is good.
So we should be able to cover that with it.
Other than these 4 conditions which I read to you, which I'll give these to Susan. It's RSA 79 is the intent to cut. RSA, it's a few pages long.
So this one we've been holding on to since June, we should probably sign.
Yeah, it's a violation. They can't arrest you, Selectmen, for not signing it, but
Is that
it's a
just one
violation.
thing? No, I'm not signing, I'm not signing. You go ahead if you want. But I wouldn't do that.
The law was just explained to me, so, and there's 5 spots on here, so.
Yeah, well, I would do it in that folder if I were you.
Yeah, that's it.
Yeah, I think we were basically supposed to sign it, but then we are.
I think we're missing a few budgets.
Notify people if there's a violation. I don't know how you stop them from cutting it at that point, I guess that's my issue. But that's the question I have.
Well, if they're, it's not the intent to cut. If they're breaking rules and regulations, whether it's wetland or whatever, there's, I mean, so everyone has been very helpful when I call them. You have the state forest ranger,
And I talked to
Matson.
them, and they were willing to come out and give us a little class, which we're gonna do on that next week.
So Susan, would it be possible to make up a cover sheet for those intent to cuts that kind of lists those 4 criteria on there?
Yeah, it's actually on the form. These 4 things are on the form that you signed, but
it's on, yeah, it's right on the intent to cut.
towards the bottom where the signatures are, I think it's you must sign unless one of these things is complied with.
Okay, I guess it just says the tax collector will be notified within 30 days of receipt.
Like you said, we notify everybody.
Is that just timber tax or is it property tax that we can?
This is just the intent to cut is timber tax.
No, I'm saying what the criteria of not allowing it or not signing it. If they're if they're delinquent in their property taxes,
I believe that's like item number 4.
because it doesn't say that on here.
If a timber tax bond is required, but that would be if they hadn't paid their taxes up. That's the way I read it anyway. If they're not current on their property taxes, they must post a timber tax bond before you sign.
Did you see who it is? Yeah. You see who it is?
All right, well, we have been educated. No, I appreciate it. It's good to know.
There's a Wiley box,
Wiley Fox, yeah.
and he is supposed to be submitting a report.
No.
The only thing I got, Pike's done doing the paving, we finished up today, right on, I think we're right on the numbers. Question I have for the Board of Selectmen, obviously shoulder gravel needs to be done next. Normally it's done by the same company, I have addendum to the contract to do the shoulder gravel, it's $21,000, do you want that to go out to bid? You want 3 or 4 different vendors? I know Brock's is not gonna be interested, and I know Bell and Flynn, but I could try and find other vendors that might do that kind of work. I don't know who, but I'll look.
How much time do you have before it gets cold and freezes up?
When's it gonna snow next?
Yeah, right.
I think we got pretty damn lucky.
What's it for?
shoulder gravel. Putting out 2 feet of shoulder.
Yeah.
'Cause right now you got exposed edge of pavement.
Yeah,
at least
So if
it's
you drive off the
interesting.
edge, it's dangerous.
Get some places, Little River Road that are.
Would you say the numbers came in at the 400,000 or in at the 3?
Right around the
I would
350.
say no, just get it
Yeah.
done. It's a safety issue.
And Heights doesn't want to do, they don't do that or something?
Mike does do it. I have addendum to the contract to do the shoulder gravel, because that wasn't part of the price.
Oh,
I would recommend that he get it done.
21,562.
That he would get it done?
I would recommend that he gets it done as soon as possible, because some of the places on, like the corner on Little River, there's places this deep. If somebody gets hooked on that side,
I kind of agree since they came in at the original price and not the 400 that, might as well let them stay at that.
I guess I missed that. I thought that was part of the whole package.
no, just paving.
Actually, you specifically asked him if that was in there.
Okay, yeah, okay. Go with,
I'd say go with the same
but
company.
we never did that before. We never did a separate price. I thought they,
I move that we pay that 21, whatever.
yeah.
Yeah, it's
Are
gotta,
they able to get right on it?
Yeah.
it's gotta get done, it's dangerous.
Yeah.
On a motion,
That would
I
be
just
good.
moved.
You just did. you
One.
Need a second.
second.
Not if I sign this and send it on, or?
Yes.
Well, wait till the vote.
Roll call vote, please.
Alessio.
Yes, yes.
Chris.
Yes,
Louis.
Yes.
St. James.
Yes.
Sign it.
All right, thank you. Well, got anything else? Oh, hang on.
Nope.
You gotta sign me any jobs if I leave?
Probably.
Well, that's the problem with the TV, is you can go home and still catch us doing it, so. As Rich is walking out the door, he can hear this as well, he knows this, but 35 Marshall Road is complete.
I actually went there today.
They,
Thanks, Rich.
Did, the driveway's nice, I drove up and back down.
so we can release their bond, if you can let Cindy know that. And, everybody's aware that they can sign off in the occupancy permit as well.
Yep.
Rich, did you have any feedback on the medical insurance?
So my take on it, present policy I have now, my costs about supposedly I only have to spend $6,000 a year in my pocket. I can tell you I'm spending $10,000 to $15,000 on a consistent basis out of pocket. This new plan doubles, so, because their out-of-pocket expense is $12,000, and that's a guarantee, you'll spend at least that much, so now I'm gonna be spending $20,000 out of a pocket. I might as well have insurance, but I appreciate it. It's a hell of a hit. If you do use the insurance, or you need the insurance, $12,000 is a big hit. $6,000 is a little bit more manageable, but that's just fine. I'm not in favor of it.
I mean, you don't have to answer this here, but I'm just be curious why you went over the out-of-pocket max.
You made
And
that.
we shouldn't go into that together.
Yes.
Inappropriate question.
Okay, I'm just saying we should look, I'm saying we should look at it.
What we asked our department heads was,
Yeah.
would they prefer to stay where we were as opposed to making a change?
So I pooled my employees, I gave them a copy of everything I got.
Yeah.
And pretty much,
But
they're happy
the
with what
same
they
as what
have.
they've got.
So,
Okay.
No, I don't want,
I know, but we can't.
yeah, I just, if there's a problem with our insurers paying this, that's a problem we should look at.
It's not, that was not what I.
That's technically between him and the insurance.
Exactly.
It's a whole different.
Exactly.
here.
I'm an extraordinary circumstance. The insurance company has spent, I'm sure, over $1 million on it in the last year and a half. Okay? So they spend a lot of money.
Thank you very much.
Thank you, Rich. All right, so Don gave us his review on that. We got Rich's.
I thought I saw somewhere that.
Graham's-
I was
Graham's
pretty much in favor, wanted to stay where we were.
They do. I spoke with Graham as well, and the entire department wants to stay the same.
You'd have to almost look at a benefit package overall, not just insurance, but other insurance, in order to make it as an incentive for the employees who want to help us make a change to save more money. You can't just pick one piece of it and think it's going to work. It's not going to happen that way. But if we look at the entire benefit package, whether increasing retirement funds, whatever, you're more likely to have some movement and the support from the staff if you had a bigger bucket to choose from.
Well, my New Year's resolution was to not get involved in employee issues, so I'm fine with whatever the board wants to do.
I would say keep it the same.
Right now, I'd rather, we have so many things on our plate that this is not a high priority, even though the 50,000 would be nice. We're gonna be spending that money on infrastructure for IT anyway, so.
Well, yeah, but we're not saving the 50 grand,
Yeah,
and we're
I know.
still spending the 50 grand.
Yeah, but I
So
know we shouldn't.
you are bound for Washington, Ellen, with that kind of math. Rich, you got any?
I hope not.
She went one way or the other? or-
Yeah.
So that renewal is there for your signatures, I think, in the orange folder.
Okay,
I think it's for you, Phil, I think you need to
of
offer.
course it is.
We'd like to see you write your name off it.
All right, employee contracts.
I want to review them and talk about them next Monday, because we just got them today.
Okay.
I just,
I reviewed both contracts with the individuals involved.
one of them needs to be consistent with the warrant article we just put in, terminology under RSA 105-2.
Then you'll have to send me the wording. I went with what they gave me. I did not look for anything else anywhere else.
So we have to call Rich no longer road agent, but highway agent. That's based upon the statute.
Okay, all right.
So, and it's consistent with what we did with the warrant on it.
Well, if we're gonna go over this next Monday, why are we doing this now?
Right.
I'm not gonna reset them up.
Okay, time out. First off, let me back up. I need a motion to sign this renewal with Health Trust.
Make a motion to authorize the chair to sign all necessary insurance documents for the town employees.
Second.
Okay, motion and a second. Discussion. We're not going with the new plan, right? Okay. Roll call vote, please.
Alessio?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coombs?
Abstain.
St. James?
Yes.
And Wilson?
Yes.
Okay. Is there was that a motion to table the contract discussion until next week?
Well, I don't care if we talk about a little bit, the main conversation, I mean, I haven't read them.
I agree with this, so I'd like to just compare them out.
I just want to make sure it's legal, because if there's an inconsistency on what we've said in a warrant article,
What warrant article? The one that we just passed in March that said he's now a road agent?
highway agent. So I just don't want there to be inconsistency in what,
So you want to change road to highway, is that what
it has to be, that's what the statute says.
So you'll know, I'm not an expert in employee contracts. These need to be vetted by someone else.
Right, well, what we said in the meeting was that we were gonna write it and then send it to council.
Okay.
I'm just,
And that's an easy fix.
oh, yeah.
Can we send it? Well, actually, I can tell you some of this opinion. We should send it to council before too?
No, I want you guys to read this.
Okay.
And tell me what you don't like, because I have to go back to employees if we're not gonna, this is what they agreed to.
I have one simple question. Shouldn't this contract be for the road agent or highway agent and not for Rich St. Hilaire?
This is a Don Briggs kind of contract
I
that's
know.
geared to St. Hilaire. So,
What
to
is-
answer your question,
what
it
is-
should be, but it's
No,
not.
I'm saying, shouldn't we write an overall contract for the fire chief and an overall?
Like a general type of contract.
Yeah, so then whoever it is, like, in other words, instead of stating 4 weeks vacation, it says town's vacation policy.
And I totally agree with you, but this is not geared for that, this is geared for Rich.
Yeah. I think we have to do these, as she's saying, these are specific to these two people, and
Well, then.
So you want to talk about it next Monday?
I'm fine with that.
I'm just scared
You
that,
guys haven't read it, so yes, I think we have to.
I'm scared that if we pass this, just say we pass it as written, and so immediately, are they gonna look at this and say, I get 4 weeks vacation?
Well, no, they did it,
They're not elected, so that it takes that out of it, and it's,
Okay.
everything is open for negotiation.
Okay.
But that's why we would
I just
need
wanna make sure we're not
counsel.
locking into the future.
I would not want to promise, we don't
One
want.
thing we've had a lot in the last year is people moving into a position and saying, well, that's what they made, that's what I'm gonna make.
Well,
Even
I
though
don't-
there's less experience and everything, they thought they should be starting at the
I
salary.
don't
of the
know
other
which
person
select
in
would
it.
change that. 30 years, that got changed, it didn't, when Rich went in as well.
No. Just making sure we weren't locking into that. It's my
And that's why
fault.
we gotta make sure that council that looks at these, make sure that, because it shouldn't, because years of experience hasn't changed, but these would not be elected individuals. And I think
Okay.
that's the difference between going right into the same position with whether or not you had the same experience. Again, I don't know how that ever happened, but it did.
Okay.
the only problem you have to be cautious of, you want to run into discriminatory employment practices. That's the only thing you have to be careful.
Okay, motion to table this conversation until next Monday.
second.
Okay, motion and second. All those in favor?
Aye?
Aye. Okay. Committee liaison reports.
I'll talk about the history book. They're doing pre-orders now at the library and downstairs. And Bob Bean and I are taking orders. People should contact those or go to the places and fill them out. We're only ordering so many books and we'll be first come, first serve. When they're gone, they're gone.
How much?
$50. Roughly a 750-page book, colored 8x10 hardback book. And right now they're expecting printing like the 1st of March. They've got a nice certificate if people buy them for Christmas that they will give you as a gift card that you can give to somebody. So people should either get into town hall, the library, or contact me.
Didn't they send something out though, if you donate a certain amount of money?
If you donated, you will get a book free.
Right.
Certain amount of money, yeah.
No, because it wasn't listed on the sponsorship page.
Yes, I did.
Yeah, I got, there was that
I
type
did.
of thing.
I gave a donation.
I think there's 34
Yeah,
books
so
we
did I.
give away to
It's
sponsors.
so-
I don't,
It didn't list it.
maybe there was a
Because I
certain.
thought it was kind of interesting, it didn't mention it, but
There was a letter soliciting.
I'll verify how much they had to give, but I know that there's so many being given away to the sponsors.
Yeah.
I'd be interested in sponsoring.
it's too late to sponsor now.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't think it's
Oh, they still taking
I
sponsorship?
think we'd still take somebody's money. Might be too late to be listed in the book. I don't even think it's that, 'cause I don't think that part
Did
of
they even
it.
list them? I mean, I don't think it even matters whether you list them in the book.
I'll check into that and let you know.
Other liaison reports, I only got one, from the inspectors. We've been having a lot of detached structures with, conditioned spaces, shall we say? Electricity in them, insulation, then putting mini splits, with heating and air conditioning, and calling them sheds.
What is this?
Numerous places throughout town, 3 or 4.
I'm sorry, they're putting in mini splits and they're calling them what?
They're sheds that they're insulating, putting electricity in, and having offices and
Well,
businesses. So, I spoke to Glenn Greenwood just to have him kind of research where we're at as far as plans, and then, so that's probably gonna fall into my permit review there is if nothing else, we're missing out on the taxes. In my opinion, a shed is an unconditioned space where you store things in an outside area, you know, so.
I guess the
Lawnmower.
shed, it's just a shed.
I talked to one of the people that was on that list and was told that Robert Stewart was informed of everything, and I haven't had time to check with Robert Stewart yet to verify any of that, so. And he knew what it was being used for, knew that it was gonna be conditioned. I said, well, did you apply for any of the energy permits? And they said, yes. So, like I say, I haven't confirmed any of that, but
Okay.
I will tomorrow when I come in, or
Okay,
I don't have anything, no. Rich was here, Tammy was here.
all right. Correspondence. We have one from a resident on Exeter Road regarding commercial uses in residential zones. Everybody has a copy of this.
Yeah.
I know.
So with regards to this specific one, they're questioning the Article 207 of the Kingston zoning ordinance, residential home occupation clearly states that the standards of this section dealing with home occupations are designed to protect and maintain the residential character of a neighborhood while permitting certain limited commercial activities which are traditionally carried out in the home. We had issued a building permit for someone to put up a larger structure to contain their business in, and this person felt that that was an error. This discussion took place just for the good of everybody, and again, the board, I discussed this with each of you individually while this was going on. They did sign an affidavit stating that they were aware of the regulations, and they did state that they would adhere to them. That went into their file. I have asked the building inspector to just convey to them that it would behoove them to put up as much screening as possible. But I stated then, and I still maintain, that I don't think we should have withheld a building permit based on what someone might do.
you can't.
And I still feel that the ambiguity of whether this fell under the home occupation or not, this structure that they're putting up was to alleviate any sight of the home occupation business. So, again, everybody has this in their packet, and I mean, if there are questions or anything on it.
I add one thing, just for your information. I don't know if you remember the business development committee we had about 20 years ago, that we tried to organize the business community. There were about 250 on-site businesses in town, and at least another 250 non-offset, invisible. So we have quite a few invisible. Yeah, not to say you don't see a car with a name and something. We have a lot throughout town, unless we were going to hold everyone's feet to the fire. I can't see us doing anything different than what we already did here.
I think there's a difference if someone is working a wood shop out of their house versus storing their tools in a trailer and taking a trailer and going to work in the morning, or even leaving their trailer there to store the tools. I think there's a difference between a trailer and a yard versus someone working out of their house. And to my knowledge, I don't believe that the property in question is working out of their house.
He stated he does nothing at his home.
He has a trailer that he sometimes takes to work, sometimes doesn't, depending on his job.
Well, I think, as Rich has said numerous times, we need to treat everybody the same. And to Ellie's point, I could walk within 200 feet of this building and probably find 3 home-based businesses.
Easily.
And so, I respect the zoning ordinance, and I respect the intent of it, but I feel that business in this town needs to be supported, not stifled. Unless it's a nuisance, and at which point it would have to go in for site plan
Yeah,
review.
that's something
But
different.
but I appreciate the author bringing it to our attention, and I respect their perspective.
Didn't we have another letter from the library trustees?
Yes.
I thought you said there was only one, that's why I wanted to be sure we used.
Oh, one other thing for committee liaison reports. So the letter did go out for Solar Hills Phase 2, the requested construction
Oh,
meeting.
yeah, I see, yeah.
And so everybody's aware of that.
He brought in a check for us for
Okay.
For 1 day.
Is that scheduled or?
$1,000. He hasn't left me, I not heard from him. I called him a little, but he wanted to be aware of it.
Okay.
He hadn't-
But that's only to put the road in.
It's a
Nothing
start.
else.
It's a start, Kevin.
So it's the pre-construction meeting where all this is hammered out, but if there is no bonding in place, the road has to be either built or bonded before we issue any permits, and that will be covered extensively in that pre-construction meeting, that no permits, 0 permits will be issued until the road is built or bonded.
Right, and the road has to be built in such a way that it can be inspected every step of the way, and the inspection fees prepaid before
Right.
they move on. So there's still a lot of work still to be done.
So we have a letter from the library here. Library is requesting that budget funds in the amount of $14,816 for the remaining 2020 library budget funds of $78,486 to be transferred to the operating account.
Is that to their operating account or to our operating account?
Their operating account.
That's what I thought. So, I don't guess I understand that. So do we hold the library's budget and release it as they need it? Is that what that's implying?
I'm going to defer to you on this one.
To a certain extent, I mean, if they have unexpended funds and then they haven't spent it for a while and they need to, yes, basically,
Okay.
they do.
So they send us bills that are approved to pay and they're paid out of their account?
The library trustees pay their own bills, they have their.
So they just ask Cindy for a release of funds
Into their checking account. That's
Okay.
correct. That's correct. She basically transfers all the funds and then we refund, the library trustees will refund unexpended benefit monies. There are monies that they do return to the town.
Right, I knew that.
Did they state what the reason is for?
They don't have to state the reason.
They don't need to. I mean,
They really
actually,
don't have to state
they
the
actually
reason.
tell us most of the time, but
Yeah. Once the budget is approved, they have the authority to spend it and we cannot restrict that. Just saying.
do you need a motion or anything to approve that, or you just gonna
It's always nice to have that.
motion to approve
The
the
14,816 and I'll second
as
it.
requested?
Yeah.
Okay, motion second, further discussion. Roll call vote, please.
Alessio?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coombs?
Yes.
St. James?
No.
And Wilson?
Yes.
Okay, take a motion on the minutes.
So moved
Second?
on all 3 sets. We have October 5th, October 26th, and October 26th. One's non-public and one's public. Those 3 sets.
Okay, motion second, further discussion. All those in favor?
Hold on, actually, I'm sorry, we're doing October 26th, the 2, and then what? The non-public, okay, yes, okay.
One was a non-public, one was a public, and then you
Yep.
have the,
26 non-public and,
that should be November 5th, not October.
That's what I was meant, that's why I'm asking.
Yeah,
if we could-
it was last Thursday's meeting where we set the tax rate.
I'll fix that, sorry.
Okay. And that should be.
And can we just talk,
thank you for noting my late arrival to that meeting.
can we talk about the tax rate setting? Because I know I got a phone call from
Yeah,
someone.
well, these are the minutes, we can do that. Hold on a second.
Okay.
Yeah, just let's give
So
them.
aside from the month date,
Just,
Other than that, call the roll call, so don't do.
someone asked me,
Okay.
we should at least talk about it.
Alessio?
Yes.
Briggs?
Yes.
Coombs?
Yes.
St. James?
Yes.
And Wilson?
Yes.
I was just gonna say, I got a phone call from someone that was concerned that, we had a meeting. I said, we had a meeting we do it every year, how much we're gonna take from the fund balance, and I just think we should at least talk about it. We just had the tax clerk say the bills went out, and we took the maximum we felt safe with living within DRA standards, that we appropriated, $840,000 from fund balance to offset the taxes. And that, we lowered it by, was it $1?
Over a dollar. It's over $1. So that the rate would be $20.88.
Which in the year we have had is amazing.
It is. But you know what? This town stepped up to the plate and did what it needed to do to protect itself, its residents. You also have a highway agent that, we had a mild winter, so we had some savings, substantial savings there as well, to take into account. We also had to give the school some credit because they returned monies as well that had a big piece of that reduction as well.
Don't worry, they'll do better next year.
Don't say that. So everyone played their part and did a great job.
I just want to, it was a posted meeting. I just want to know that if people, we don't work in a vacuum here, that we, so that's all.
It's done every year.
Yep.
That's just right. Yeah, I'm assuming it's my first time, so
Yeah.
I'm assuming it's every year. And if every year we can reduce it by $1, it would be a sweet thing. What else, Mr. Chairman?
I believe the only other thing I have is, this DRA sales ratio survey. Did you?
Oh, yeah, the assessors do that. It has to be submitted to the DRA. They checked our sales for the year and
Our sales?
they have to, that's what sets the equalization rate, how's the rate of
Oh, house sales of homes.
valuations. Yeah,
Yeah, I didn't know that we had started another business or anything.
no.
Signature.
You signed it.
They review all the sales over the course of the year.
So everybody's got to sign that. That's all I have.
I think so.
Any non-public items?
I have one quick non-public, actually, it doesn't have to be non-public.
Good.
We have a thing for there's a PO that needs to be signed for flagpole equipment for the Rich Van Lair Recreation Center. And Cindy's asking for clarification on where that money can come from.
In concrete.
What?
Those are-
And the concrete, but I mean, there is in government buildings, there's a capital equipment line. There is a park maintenance line that I believe there's money in that they can come from. And then even in the Selectmen budget, we even had
I think it should come out of the selectmen's budget. Find a
equipment supply, there wasn't that much, but we could overspend the line, or supplies.
So what? I mean, I don't want to go into Rich's budget. We know there's plenty of money.
Well, I'm just saying, Cindy's looking for clarification.
I'd be willing to work with her on that if the board would like me to do that.
Please.
Please do.
Perfect.
Just that gracious donation today,
What?
the donation with the.
It's a nice note.
Any, the Zoom call from earlier, we're good on that?
We had no public comment, right? On the Zoom. There's no one here then.
No, the earlier Zoom.
I would think, do we want to meet with the residents first and just tell them, or,
Well, I thought we were gonna look into a couple more things.
actually, we want to do a site walk, didn't we?
We're gonna do a site walk, but I think we're gonna look into that other item the attorney spoke to us about, right?
Right, he said there was some stuff this afternoon, said, I didn't get a chance to look at that.
Yeah, we need to really digest that.
And then we need a list, I mean, we need to kind of, we'll get organized a little
We
bit.
should look at all the different things that pertain to it.
Do we want to do just a quick update to the residents?
I think we're gonna have to, but I guess we gotta
We
get a
should
couple
keep
more
it
answers.
posted, I think that's a fair thing to do.
Someone want to reach out to them?
I don't mind.
And do we want to tell them if we're going to do a site walk? We can post it as we're going to be together and
Well,
offer
it has
that.
to be posted if we're gonna do a sidewalk, and then they should.
So what I'll do is I'll, probably a Saturday, would that be better for everyone or not?
Not this coming Saturday, I can't do.
No, but I'm just saying, what, is it a weekend better for the board or during the day?
I really don't
Depending on
care.
the day, I'm okay.
Okay, so I'll approach the owner of the property to get permission for at least for us to go on the property. And,
No, it should include, it's only fair that.
I don't know.
Even a couple of representatives.
Okay,
I don't
couple,
think the whole neighborhood, but maybe
Okay.
a couple of representatives.
So two people,
The two gentlemen, or two families, a representative from each of those two families.
I don't think you can limit it.
Yeah, I don't think you can at all.
Oh, because it's a public thing.
Public meeting.
Right. You just let Mr. Torrey know that,
well, I'll ask for permission to do a sidewalk.
and then they have it posted. And let the residents.
They may want it Saturday or Sunday, so there's not trucks running around.
I'll ask.
All right, I'm calling Dennis.
And you're calling it.
Entertain a motion to adjourn?
so moved.
Second.
Motion second. All those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Thank you for joining us this evening. Have a good night.
This is pretty good given what,
Yeah.
yeah, Mr. Hannigan for an hour.
Hey, question, I saw